Hey. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hey. Hey. Go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 4, 8. Oh. Hello, how are you tonight? My name's Quinlan and this is Melbourne Musos Facechook Live. And we have a missing person on our hand. We have the Metro-Gnome. I'm going to put his description up here. And there you go. And tonight's episode is all about the Metro-Gnome. Okay, all the things we have to do with it and all that sort of business. Okay, let's get into it. Now, as you know, we have to play to a click track. Okay, when we're playing. All that sort of business. What we've got there.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
See, that's what we got to do. Play to it. Oh my God! You know why?
And that's what must be done.
That's what must be done. So what we've got. Let me talk about the Metro-Gnome. Okay, last week. I dedicated the show to Dear Meg White of the White Stripes, which had a lot to do with what's happening at the moment and with respect. And essentially, for all the ladies who play drums and any musical instrument, you know, just the things that the things that they go through, all that sort of stuff. So what goes on is everything was about accelerando, rallentando, ritenuto, and poco e poco, and all that. So I thought I'd do a bookend lesson where you have to stick to the time, okay? And let me talk about time a little bit. I've done it, of course, in the past. I mean, after 26 years, you sort of do. But what happens is I'd like to go down the track of all the things that you can do to get your timing better, to work on what you've got and all that sort of stuff. You know, go with what you've got. Sometimes, as dear old Alan Zavod said, sorry, there we go, that's better. And so what goes on is one of the main things that you want to be able to do is not just play to a click, but work within it, without it, you know, get that kind of thing. Now, I've got my phone here, my old ancient iPhone 4, and on it I have the app that I use. I really like it. It's called Tempo, and that's what we've got. And what happens with a metronome, and when you're doing the click track, one of the most important things you can do is obviously lock into the beat, but what kind of beat do we have? Okay, so if I was to start with probably one of the most important tempos you can have, and that is 120 beats per minute, and it's basically a march. Bump-a-doo, rump-a-doo, rup-a-da-bup-a-da-boop-a-doo, rump-a-doo, rump-a-doo. There it is! And what I've done is I've put a bell on one. I've got it fairly loud tonight for this kind of thing. So, 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. That's 120. The reason being is it's your standard marching tempo. And when you think about a second, what you have is 60 beats per minute. There's 60 seconds in a minute. So therefore 120 is half a second. It also happens to be the default speed on my ancient old computer when I do all the triggers and stuff, because it's locked into the computer's clock. And there you have it. So that's the heartbeat. I've done a whole show on 120 beats per minute. And what would happen is that you want to try and get that thing. That's your typical marching tempo. That's your starting thing. So that's a little bit of a thing that maybe some drummers out there don't know, is that your 26 standard rudiments and then eking out into your 40 PAS rudiments, the Percussive Art Society, they're pretty much all geared to that tempo, you see. So when you're actually doing a roll, like a double stroke roll, go. That's what goes on there. You see, you get that build it up to that kind of thing there. So, there you go. Hey, hey, hey. There it is. The days gone by, I would have been doing the Moomba procession with the City of Essendon Brass Band. I would be doing the Anzac Day, Remembrance Day, and everything in between, probably. Even the races. Anyway, there you go. But what happens is that what you do is you try and lock into a beat. Now, what sometimes happens is that when you're actually playing to a click, you need to lock into the actual beat. Now, I'm going to bring up a little bit of history. My and many other great Melbourne drummers grew up with our teacher, Harold Speed Ripper. And Wes Ripper, if you're watching, how you going? And I used to see you run about the house while I was coming in for a lesson at Harold's house and all that, and all the other places in between, you know, sort of thing. I started with him at Sutton's. 3rd floor, Melbourne Music Centre, 3rd floor of Sutton's back in 1973 and all that. Followed him around for a bit. Brunswick Music Centre with the Trimboli family. There's a few stories there. And then on to Billy Hyde's, and then off to Allen's, and then I was out on my own. That was about 6 or 7 years of stuff like that. Then I went back to his house and all that sort of business. And he would set things up for me. He would make me, this is the old-fashioned metronome, you know, the old wind-ups and all that, in increments of 8. And what he'd get me to do is start with quavers, work on that, and we'd do the 3 rudiments, right? So what would happen, we'd have the single stroke roll, the double stroke roll, and the paradiddle, both hand starts, if you don't mind. And if I was to do 120 beats a minute, let's say, let's go to semi-quavers, 1, 2, 3, so I'd have to do it minute non-stop, left hand start, and oh, I'll be there forever. Minute non-stop, double stroke roll. Oh, page. Left, I think you're getting the picture. Paradiddles. 2, 3, 4. And the idea was to get them as even as you can and all that. And you'd build your way up to 208. That's as far as the pendulum went on the old-fashioned metronomes and all that sort of stuff. So, you know, if I was sort of, you know, and you'd sort of there, you'd be there, you'd go. Away you go. Good old Harold, old H. The thing, though, that's brilliant, no worries. It'd take you 6 minutes to do one speed. Well, let's say 7 minutes, because you'd have to have a little break in between to fall off the back of the drum stool while Harold was off somewhere else. Yeah. Would you like a lead lemonade, a Coke, or a Fanta? You'd press the lead, and that was Melbourne Bitter. You press the Coke, that was a Vic. Does anyone remember that Coke machine? That seemed to go with him wherever he went. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Boom tish. So what would go on? Oh, I'm having flashbacks now. Oh, bloody hell. My mum went drinking with him one night. Pump. Had to get home in a taxi. Anyway, that's another story. Good old H. But what would happen, let me get back into business here. Let's go back to, rather than good old Melbourne Muso stories, let's get back to G rating and have a bit of a look at what that meant. So what would happen is that you're doing this kind of, if we're doing 4 on the floor and hi-hat 2 and 4, right? 1, bam, bam. One yada, 2 yada, 3 yada, 4 yada, you know. that kind of business there. You'd work it up, you know, that kind of thing. You just push through, mate, push through. I remember the time when I went from my double stroke rolls and I couldn't get past around about 148 or whatever it was, 100 whatever it was there. And one day I remember I'm never going, and also, hang on, there's these things called fingers. And it seemed like it clicked, and I went, there you go. The thing about that was great. I've got my Harold books over there. I'll probably put them up there at some stage with his distinctive writing and all that. But what it is that it took you right up, you know, and to 208. So it'll be done. So if I get that going up to 208, do that. Oh boy. Oh. Paradiddles. Oh, Harold, my lord, apparently had the best hands in town, according to people like Graham Morgan and people like that, all that sort of biz. And there you have it. Even the man Gary Hyde, I believe, as well, sort of thing. So he worked for all of them. And the whole idea of this is, of course, I'm talking about my old teacher. He was like, get that metronome happening, son. The wind up. You fall off the back of the drum stool and away you go. However, one of the things about that is the fact that what you're really doing is practicing really just 4 notes, really. Okay. What you're doing is you've got your semi-quavers, okay, you've got your quavers, triplets, and then crotchets, okay. Think of it like 5 if you want. You could have, if you're going to go through it, you've got your crotchet worth 1 beat, you've got your quaver worth half a beat, you've got triplets worth a third of a beat, and semi-quavers worth a quarter of a beat, and that's what it would be. I've left out the minims, of course, at 2 and semi-breve at 4, but hey, we're talking about metronome and working out your chops. The thing is, they're all the notes, you see. But what I was going on, what I was getting into through the 70s was, of course, prog rock and all this sort of business. And there was just something not gelling. It was like, hang on, are they semi-quaver? Are they triplet? And then I found out they're quintuplets. Good old Frank Zappa, you know, like... hippopotamus, Gina Lola Brigida, Gina Lola. I haven't mentioned her beautiful name for a while. Gina Lola Brigida, 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 Gina Lola Brigida. So, how do you work those notes out with a Metro-Gnome? What you do is you work in between the notes, you know, that kind of thing. So what I'm going to do now is go back to, I'll take it down to 80 beats a minute, and I'm going to show you what I'm going to do here. I'm going to do a little thing that I've done for a long time when I'm having to deal with these kinds of note groupings, okay. When I deal with 1 to 10, okay, 1 is a crotchet, okay, 2 is a quaver, 3 is a triplet, 4 is a semi-quaver, 5 is the quintuplet, 6 is a sextuplet, 7 is a septuplet, 8 is 32nd notes, and 9 is non-uplets, and 10 is decuplets. That's what it is. And there you go. And what happens is if I go to 80, there it is there. So, it's an exercise to stay in the time. So 1, 2, triplets. All right, left, left, right, left, left, right, left, left, semi-quavers. Of course, that's your main Harold thing there. I'll stay on that for a bit. You go your double stroke rolls and paradiddle. 5. 8. 9. 10. Oh, there you go. So that's what goes on there, 1 to 10, you see. Now let me break everything down. When you're dealing 1, 2, 3s, and 4s, there's no real problem. 5 and 7 are non-divisible. So what starts to happen is a couple of different things. You would have 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. But what you start doing is getting a resolution point from side to side. If you're going to do single stroke rolls, essentially the odd numbers, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, you're going to go from hand to hand. Think like a triplet. Right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, like that. And so it goes for 5, 7s, and 9. When you're starting to use things like mixed sticking and stuff like that, what happens is actually I'll double back. If you're going to do a single stroke roll and do even numbers like 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, what happens is 2 are quavers, 4 are semi-quavers, 1 eana, 2 eana. 6s are sextuplets, 6 notes, 8 is 32nd notes, and 10 is the decuplet. But what goes on is you'll stay on the one hand. So you get, that's a 6. There you go, the rim shots. And it goes like that. And so what happens then is that you have a series of resolution points or bumps in the road, you know, that kind of thing. So I'm not even really calling it an accent, even though I'm rim shotting. But if I'm just going to do a even roll, let's say, it's just flat. But if I'm going to delineate the beat, meaning, you know, put a center on it, what am I going to play? If I'm going to do semi-quavers, can you hear the 4? Dagga, 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 da. I'm not doing anything like that. It's just, and
1, 2,
3, 4, and that's what you do, you see. I don't know, that wasn't worthy of a boom tish, was it? Anyway, so what goes on is that when you're dealing with this kind of business, you pick your moments. And what happens is when you're doing 1 to 10 and building it up, what happens is you're working to the point where, if I'm going to play at 8, or just press the metronome, that's a pretty slow beat. But what you're doing is playing very quickly inside it, okay? Now, you think, well, what does that mean? Well, if you're going to do anything like any kind of theatre work, or one of the greats is Billy Gladstone, this kind of thing, who was most famous for his Gladstone technique, which is essentially finger control. And what you get is things like, live from Radio City Musical, Frank Sinatra. Now away you go. So it might be 1, 2, 3, 4. What the hell is going on down there with the mallets, you see? So what you've got to try and do is play very quickly, you know, inside a very slow tempo for things like that, especially if you're doing any kind of classical work. So maybe, oh. 3, 4, and thank you very much. And there you go, you see. So sometimes you've got to work things out in that manner. And then when you're getting into the crazy shit, like Frank Zappa stuff and like the Black Page and all that sort of business, which I've done on the show. I'm not going to do it tonight. But what starts to happen is that when you're actually dealing with that 1 to 10 idea, you can start to work out different things with your tempos. and work within it. Okay, so you know, that kind of thing. So if I was going to sort of go to 100, let's say. This is Vinnie Colaiuta stuff with Zappa. So there's stuff like that. Weird ass stuff. If I did it without the metronome, without the hi-hat, it'd just be. Rubbish! Where is the metronome? Okay, that's something the leprechaun would probably play. Marcus. Anyway, there you go. So that's that kind of thing there. So when you're actually sort of working things like that, you've got slow notes fast, and then sometimes fast notes slow, you know, because you might be going, you know, roll out the barrel. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's have a barrel of fun. Roll out the barrel. Wow, hey, you know, I'm not playing that fast. I'm just going a polka and all that stuff. You see, away you go. So. And there you go, with 2 bass drums. Oh, look at him play at 300 beats per minute. I like to see those. Oh, look how fast I can go. And there it is. But one of the things you want to be able to do is work on that resolution point and bringing in the Billy Gladstone thing. Because if I've got a tempo, if I bring it back up to there it is there, 120. And if I just put in a... See, quavers, right? What that is a paradiddle diddle, a bit of a jazz secret weapon. Right, left, right, right, left, left, right, left, right, right, left, left, right, left, right, right, left, left, right. That's what it is there. That's what happens there. So you get that kind of thing. So it's a 1, 2, 3, 4. But I was playing as if it was in double time. 1, 2, 3, 1. There it is. And what goes on then is that as you play, it's like a heartbeat. And that's what goes on, you see. Now, one of the little things, starting to wrap the show up a little bit, and when we start getting into some of the out there kinds of groupings, like, you know, the 5s and the 7s and all that sort of stuff, is you tend to subgroup and all that. So what starts to happen is that if I've got this kind of basic rock beat there, So you get that going. What you're starting to do is vip, the vipping stroke, or the vipping post. Play vipping post. Frank Zappa somewhere. Tied to the whipping post. Lord, I feel like I'm dying. There you go. It's a bit of folklore there. Allman Brothers originally. And that's all paradiddle diddle, you see. So what starts to happen then is you work your subgroupings, so to speak. So what starts to happen is when you start talking about non-uplets, I was actually doing this the other day, or the other week when I was doing St. Paddy's Day, but I was treating it like the time signature. But when I start talking about non-uplets, you've got 9 notes per beat, okay? Now, on face value, you go, who's ever going to need that? Well, it's the same as, let's say, you're playing a blues. I woke up this morning. What happened to fingers there? I'll do it again. That bit. Manic depression, searching my soul. I don't know why I do that. Hey! It's good enough for Mitchell. It's good enough for... There you go. And what that is I've subdivided the 9 into 3 groups of 3. So if I've got a triplet, like 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a... Try right, left, left. There it is there. You see, you got 9 uplets right there. Now, if you're going to do 10s, double the 5s. If I got someone, oh, that's what it is there. Oh, sorry. Hang on. I got the timer there. Hey, Face ID. I haven't cracked the glass. All right, there you go. And what goes on? Where was I? 10s. Yes. It depends on how you subdivide, because if you've got 10, it can be 2 5s. You see, so you can go hippopotamus, 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 hippopotamus. One, two, three, four. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, I could also count 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 4 and... Now, to be decuplets, I'm playing 10, you see. That's what goes on. Either that, or you could double stroke, double them up, take a normal quintuplet. There you go. Hippopotamus, 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 hippopotamus. That's what you've got, you see. So what actually happens is that when you're actually playing various tempos, you can subdivide it, you see. So if you're going to sort of go...
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
loving that one tonight. Free, ha! There you go. Or, oh, dear me.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Three, four, 1, 2,
3,
4.
2,
3, 4. 2. Four. There you go. I hope you enjoyed that show tonight. A bit cockamamie. So, now, tonight's show is like the bookend lesson from last week because what I was doing last week was not only a dedication to Meg White, but just talking about accelerando e ritenuto, rallentando e like that and all that. But tonight I'm a little bit more on the money with There you have it. There it is. It's the metronome. Where is the metronome? Oh, we found him. The metronome. I've found him. The little metro. How are you, mate? You doing all right? We thought we lost you for a while. We went away with Frank Zappa. Got a bit cockamamie. Oh, my Lord. Look, there he is there. So tonight's show is dedicated to Mr. Metro-Gnome. There you go. There you go. All right. Oh, very nice. All right, I'll put you back where you belong. Hey. All right. I'm out of here. Give me some editing cordial with Mr. Metro over there, me little gnomey mate. And I'll have this up for you tomorrow. Yeah, with a bit of luck, maybe even. No, I'm not going to do it tonight. I can't do all-nighters anymore. Marcus Saturday morning, I can't do them anymore, mate. I lose Saturdays. Anyway. So, I hope you enjoyed tonight's show about the metronome, and I will probably have this up on Channel 31 next Wednesday at 10 p.m. and all that. I hope it's not our last months, but we'll see how we go with this current government. And there you go. All right, I'm out of here. Hey, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Off we go. Oh, editing cordial. Hey.